Friends, welcome aboard. Thank you so much for joining us today. I reacquainted myself with Pam Barth. She's written a book, Becoming a Wellness Champion. She feels that fungus certainly is a problem, but so are parasites, worms, flukes inside of people. She's going to join me today to talk about that. Also, I want to talk about Aspergillus mold. How are we being exposed to them and how might it hurt us? Then I'll talk about liver cancer in America and threaded in between a brand new segment and an Abby segment. Oh, I love what Abby's doing today. All that and more on this, Know the Cause. My name is Doug Kaufmann. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. Friends, welcome and thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're enjoying the show today, or you will enjoy the show. You know, I go back almost 50 years. I'm a little embarrassed to tell you that, but this is the year I turned 70. And when I was 21 years old, I got back from Vietnam, so I began studying fungus and their poisons they produce a long, long time ago because I had this problem. And I thought at that time, I'm the only guy in the world with a fungal problem, right? All these jungle rot and things from Vietnam on me. There are so many books I own. One day, if I die, somebody grab my books. I have hundreds of old books. This one's called Mycotoxins in Human and Animal Health. 1970s it was published, and as you see, I've read it through a few times. In this book, there is a mold called Aspergillus. And be careful, folks, because I think many lung cancers are being misdiagnosed because what's growing in the lung of these people is what we call an aspergilloma. It's a ball of Aspergillus. These fungi protect themselves in a rubbery sac that really can't be differentiated from a cancer tumor. And your doctor will say, well, that's crazy. We sent a biopsy of that sac to the laboratory and they said it was cancer. Once again, folks, if all you own is a hammer, then the whole world looks like a nail to you. Everybody's got cancer. If you don't learn about aspergillomas, you'll never know what to order in the laboratory report, okay? So I'm going to study with you, and I want to go back. I'm having fun now. I've done this a couple of times and I thoroughly enjoy it. Aspergillus is just one of 300 pathogenic molds that we humans are exposed to. We've classified 75,000 and 300 have been poisonous to man. Aspergillus is one of them. And I'm telling you, it grows all over the place. We're being exposed to it yesterday, today, and we will be tomorrow. But what is it? Okay, let's go. Aspergillus fungus, here we go, has two characteristics. It's a saprophyte. That means it eats dead or decaying vegetation. By the way, one day you and I will be dead or decaying vegetation. Number two, it's parasitic. It lives on board in our human tissues, okay? Just, kind of conjure that up. Once we inhale it, pretty common up in the ducting system, HVAC system of your home. Okay, Aspergillus causes diseases on many grain crops, especially corn, but other grains as well. Makes the toxin and cancer-causing mycotoxin called aflatoxin. Now, in the past 10 years, you've heard me say that a lot. Causes aspergillosis infections of the lung and sinuses. Aspergillomas are fungal balls that can invade the lungs and other human cavities. 3 common species of these. Okay, so what I wanted to do is take you, if your physician didn't learn about Aspergillus, then he doesn't know what an aspergilloma is. But these are balls. Remember, it said not just in your lungs, it can grow in your sinuses. It can grow down in an ear canal. It can grow in the vaginal tract. It can grow in the prostate. Okay? It can grow anywhere in the human body. Were you exposed to it? Have you given it enough food and enough air and enough sugar that it can grow in your body? Because a doctor, God bless them, folks, they don't know this, okay? So let's study the 3 types. First one is called fumigatus, Aspergillus fumigatus, most common form of invasive aspergillosis. It disseminates through the bloodstream. That means the heart pumps it to anywhere it wants to. Makes aflatoxin and gliotoxin, which interrupts the function of white blood cells. Very dangerous fungus linked to many health problems. Typically lives in the soil and in moldy buildings where we inhale it, okay? Pretty bad stuff. Doctors learn this much bacteriology in medical training, this much virology, viruses, that much. You know, I've always wondered if you walked into your doctor and said, "Doctor, I'm here today. I want to know how much you know about Aspergillus fumigatus." And if he says, what? Aspirin? Aspergillus fumigatus. And he said, "No, I wonder if I'd hang out." How are you going to know how to treat somebody for a fungal aspergilloma if you don't know how to say it? Okay, the next one, not fumigatus, the next one is called flavus, found in stored grains, can invade the arteries, eyes, sinuses, lungs, or brain, causing infarction, which is tissue death. Produces genotoxic carcinogens. It causes cancer, and the carcinogen is called aflatoxin. Can cause hepatitis, liver cancer, and immune system suppression. Do you see where I'm going with this? Doug, why am I commonly getting this common cold? I brought you this 7 years ago now on TV. Many of you are new. Welcome aboard. Thank you. I've been beating this drum for a lot of years. Okay, the next one is called Niger, Aspergillus niger. Aspergillus niger used in the production of enzymes to make high fructose corn sweeteners and syrup, and citric acid used in soda pop, associated with tinnitus, ringing in the ear, hearing loss, hair loss, skin conditions, abdominal pain, vomiting, and acid reflux. Wow. I mean, that's significant, right? Exposure to Aspergillus, cereal, corn, high fructose corn sweeteners, soil. Have you been gardening out back? Buildings that have leaked, have mold problems. Folks, if you suspect Aspergillus poisoning, get to a doctor. Systemic antifungals, my diet, the Kaufmann diet, natural antifungals. Time can take many months to heal. Sweat, sauna, chlorophyll. Get rid of this stuff from your body. That's just one species. That's one species of fungus. There's 299 more we need to talk about. The reason I enjoyed bringing this to you, it was 7 or 8 years ago I first brought this to you. It's still real today, even worse. Okay, Pam Barth has been a friend of mine for many years. You saw her first probably here on Know the Cause. She wrote a book in 2011, wow, 9 years ago, Become a Wellness Champion. This book has changed people's lives for the better. Folks, you can't address one thing. What frustrates me are infection medical specialists who all know about bacteria, because that's all that can infect humans. I'm being facetious. If they only knew about parasites, if they only knew that fungi parasitize man, and they don't. And so along comes Pam, been given a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis when she was 28 years old, was told to buy a wheelchair, spend the rest of her life in it. And she didn't take that sitting down. She became proactive with her health, hence the book. She is now working with hundreds of people, one of whose name is Lindsay. Tell us the story about Lindsay, and then, folks, she has something that came out of Lindsay, a long, long worm. And if you're squeamish, just don't watch. I'll tell you right before we put up the picture, but it's amazing to me. Welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Doug. So Lindsay, that's not her real name, but Lindsay is a young mom, and she has young children, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, so she still can walk, so she's not severely disabled. And what I'm finding with my students is that someone with chronic disease, more than not, is infested with not just fungus, but with also parasites, and not just small parasites, but really big worms. So this beautiful young mom went to work, and that's what they do in this class in the Live Disease Free Academy, is they learn how to take charge.
Live Disease Free
Academy, okay. Yes.
Good.
They learn how to take charge of their health. So she started to follow the instructions, and she started to pass worms. She has passed many that are over, I would say 1 foot, but a lot of them are over 2 feet long. And what I always ask people is like, are you feeling better? Because it's great to pass these worms, but does it make a difference? And she went from not being able to take care of her family as far as cleaning the home and taking care of them. Now she's very active, and she's more active with her family. She can vacuum, she can go up and down the stairs. She's back into yoga classes. And this is just in, I would say, maybe 2 months.
Folks, I'm going to show you the picture now. So if you're squeamish, just go like that, okay? Just be up for a couple of seconds. That is unreal. Okay, John, that's good enough. Wow, wow.
That's just one of them.
That's one of them. And
yeah,
you say
she's
there are
been
hundreds.
passing many for
I
weeks.
think what I want to get across during this short segment, by the way, Pam and I are going to, we met in Orlando, we talked, we ate meals together. She is helping so many people. I'm so proud of her, and her business is just going to flourish. It's not just MS. She had it. Lindsay had it. She works with others, but these are people who have autoimmune disease. Folks, there's a common thread, and it is infectious. Infectious doctors are right, just not bacteria, right? Sometimes. But if you're not looking, I've said it before, if you don't know fungus, you don't know infectious disease. If you don't know parasites, you don't know infectious disease. Pam, passing worms, getting rid of fungi, are these the steps to assist people in recovering from autoimmune disease, or what else do you do at the Live Disease Free? I love that. LiveDiseaseFree.com Academy.
Well, first of all, we have to stop feeding them. So we follow an eating plan that
What do
feeds the
worms
body.
eat?
Well, we're finding that whatever is making us sick thrives on carbohydrates. So we go really low with carbohydrates, and then people get a lot of symptom improvement. And then we support the body in various ways, and then we look at their symptoms, and if they have parasites, we start to treat that first. Then we go to the fungus, and it's back and forth for months. And a lot of other steps as far as the healthy lifestyle, but people see big shifts in neurological symptoms. People are able to start walking, coming out of scooters, wheelchairs. Drop foot can resolve. Spasticity, they have that really tight cramping in their legs. That will soften. Balance comes back. Numbness resides.
You were
lot of
saying you
symptoms.
were insomnia. You had
Yeah,
insomnia
they have.
horribly. Your brain.
Yeah, they don't sleep. They have brain fog. Lots of things.
They don't need to come to Canada.
No,
I know
no.
the past 3 days for 12 hours a day, you've been on responding to all your students. So they can do this all online. And then you give them the accoutrements. You
That's
assist
right.
them in getting all
Yes.
these accoutrements. Okay, do you see what I mean? You can't do this in 5 minutes. Television is extremely expensive to be on, so 5 minutes are valuable. Pam and I are going to talk for 15 or 20 or 30 minutes after this show. Just go to our homepage, knowthecause.com, and she'll be linked there. Watch the rest of this. Do you know someone who's really hurting? I truly in my heart believe that's why she's here today, that Pam can help. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Ted.
Does eating healthy have to be expensive? Brand new segment on today's show. Clay Cross joins us. He's a gifted filmmaker. He's going to talk about that. Then afterwards, liver cancer in America. It's going like that. I wonder why.
Hi, and welcome to the Nutrition News Minute. I'm Clay C. Cross. Hey, do you remember the old cliche, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? So to further expound upon this message, we should be eating healthy every day. However, you may be thinking you can't afford to eat healthy. Well, it turns out you can't afford not to eat healthy. There is a misconception that eating healthy is going to cost a lot of money. Sure, as with anything, you can pick and choose what to spend a lot of money on, but it doesn't necessarily have to be on healthy eating. There are a few things you can keep in mind that will allow you to eat healthy without costing an arm and a leg. First, some common strategies to begin with include planning your budget meals, of course cooking at home, and making practical choices at the market. Plus, whether we want to admit it or not, eating junk food will become very costly to our wallet and eventually to our health. So, some other ideas to keep in mind when wanting to eat healthy while staying on a budget include shop for produce that is in season, buy generic brands, of course stock up on sales and use coupons, and of course, as Mom taught us, don't ever go shopping when we are hungry. So utilizing these healthy budgeting tips will allow you to eat green without spending a lot of green. For the Nutrition News Minute, I'm Clay C. Cross.
You know, what in the world is going on with our livers? You've seen non-alcohol fatty liver disease, or fatty liver disease, is absolutely pandemic now. That's been published. Liver cancer, deaths from liver cancer. Well, look at this. Deaths have increased from liver cancer 43% in a 16-year period. That comes from the Center for Disease Control. What in the world is going on? We're being told, oh, don't worry, we got cancers handled. Do we really? I don't really know. I don't know which statistician to believe. Are we controlling cancer or are we not? But we know this. This is really bad news. Liver cancer way up. And folks, when you consider mycotoxins, fungal metabolites, as causing cancer, I think we have to consider that. I don't think an alcoholic drink, I don't think a round of antibiotics kills anyone with liver disease. I think it takes many, many, many rounds of antibiotics. Science has proven that. Many, many, many drinks before alcohol or liver disease, alcohol impacts your liver enough to cause liver disease. Okay, so here we go. One physician states, and I like this guy, his name is Islami. Fortune magazine said this: one of the possible explanations for an increase in liver cancer is due to the fact that blood transfusion, this guy makes sense, and organ transplants weren't screened for hepatitis C till 1992. Once someone is infected with hep C, it can take years for them to develop liver cancer. 1992, I was in the field. I was in LA at that time. I had no idea that blood transfusions weren't screened for hepatitis C. So somebody goes in the hospital, a car wreck, they need 2 units of blood, and now 15, 20 years later, they have liver cancer. Was it someone they got the blood from had hepatitis? I don't know, but he brings up a very good point. Another possible consideration is this: aflatoxin. Aflatoxins are a family of toxins produced by certain fungi that are found on agricultural crops such as corn, peanuts, cottonseed, and tree nuts. Okay, so the logical question now has to come up, well, corn, you know, peanuts, tree nuts, etc., cottonseed, I mean, are we taking in that much? Have those products that God put here become so toxic to our insides that it's now causing all of us cancer? I don't think it's a thing. And if it's a thing, one thing, then I'm leaning heavily on mycotoxins. Folks, mycotoxins, myco means fungus. Fungal poisons, okay? Of the 300 pathogenic fungi that scientists have found so far, we've classified 75,000 fungi, 300 of them are known to induce illness in man. And of those, about 5 of those fungi are now possible, probable, or known carcinogens, right? So consider that. Definitely food, drink, antibiotics can give us serious disease if we consume enough, okay? So I thought this was interesting. So aflatoxin is a mold made by Aspergillus and other fungi that we now know. There's no doubt. We know it causes human liver cancer. How many aflatoxins are you getting in? You're automatically going to say, wait a minute, I don't eat corn. I'll never forget a study I did 40 years ago. Remember when we used to lick stamps and lick envelopes? 1 calorie, and it was corn. Corn is in everything. Look what Mike Pollan says. Author Michael Pollan says this: take a typical fast food meal. Corn is the sweetener in that soda. It's in the corn-fed beef, Big Mac patty. It's in the high fructose syrup in the bun, the hamburger bun. It's in the secret sauce. Slim Jims, I guess, are full of corn syrup, dextrose, cornstarch, and a great many additives. The 4 fuels in something called Lunchable, I don't know what a Lunchable is, but he does, in a Lunchable meal are essentially corn-based. The chicken nugget, including feed for the chicken, fillers, binders, coatings, and the dipping sauce, it's all corn. It's all corn. So where do we stand? There was part of me many years ago that said, corn? You think of corn as sitting in a theater with a box of popcorn. If you're going to do that, put real butter on it. Alpha lipoic acid in real butter has some antifungal properties, okay? Put real butter on it, not the stuff you get in the theater. And then where do you get the real butter? You sneak it into a theater. Be careful with corn. It's not eating an ear of corn. It's in everything. Do you like a soda pop? You're getting corn. Do you like a lot of buns and hot dog hamburger buns? You're getting corn. Everything today has corn in it. Has that culminated in fatty liver and liver disease and liver cancer? I think that makes sense. Thanks for joining us. I'll be right back with more. You know, even after watching the show, I couldn't eat fried green tomatoes. That movie just didn't do it for me. Now, fried cabbage. Sprinkle a little bacon on that, and you've got Abby's segment for today. Absolutely delicious. Let's watch.
Hi, my name is Abby, and today for you on Know the Cause, I'm going to be making for you a side dish That's just a very simple fried cabbage. First things first, we're gonna start off with cooking some bacon. And I've already got the little oven here going. Now that's cooking, we're just gonna let that cook, and we're also gonna work on, go ahead and chopping our cabbage. I've already got one head, or one half of a head, already chopped up, so I'm gonna go ahead and chop up the second side. And you wanna cut it into kind of thin little wedges. Not necessarily strips, but little wedges, so it's easier to cook. All right, let's check on our bacon. It's looking real good. Now, that's gonna be done cooking here in just a second. We're gonna finish cutting this up real quick. Okay, our bacon is done, so I'm gonna turn that off real quick and let it cool down. And then I'm gonna take the bacon out and set it aside, but I'm gonna leave the bacon grease in the pan because we're gonna use it to saute our vegetables with. I'm gonna let that cool down just a little bit. There you go. Okay, now let's take our bacon out. It calls for 3 strips. If you use smaller amounts of bacon, like thinner strips, you can use a little bit more if you want to. If you don't want to use bacon at all, what you can do is use something like turkey bacon or sausage. And then when you're sauteing your vegetables, you'll use something like butter or olive oil or any kind of oil that's approved through the Kaufmann diet. And then you can just cook everything in that. Okay, bacon, setting aside. Now, I've got half a cup of chopped white onions. We're gonna saute this down first, and then we're gonna add our cabbage. Let that heat up a little bit, and we still got all the bacon grease in there, so we're just gonna add this in. And we're just gonna saute it a little bit, just so it's a little translucent. We don't need to really cook it down. Just release some of the aromatics, get some of that bacon grease off the bottom. It's gonna be really good. Now, once our onions are the way we like them, we're gonna add all of this cabbage. This is a whole head of cabbage chopped up. Just throw it all in there. Okay. We're gonna give it a quick turn, and then we're gonna let it sit with the top on it for a few minutes. Okay. Now we'll just leave it with the top on for a couple minutes. We'll stir occasionally. It's gonna take around 15 to 20 minutes depending on how big of a head of cabbage you're actually using. But when it is done, it'll turn a really bright, fragrant green, and you'll smell it. It's been cooking for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and add about 2 tablespoons of water, just so it really starts steaming up. And again, I'm gonna mix that a little bit. All right, while that's finishing cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and start chopping up my bacon to add a little bit later. Put that on a plate. And this is just gonna be mixed in through the whole thing, so you're just chopping it into little bitty chunks. Okay. Yeah. Now it's probably only got about a minute left, so at this point I'm gonna go ahead and add salt and pepper to taste. And give that a quick turn. And now it's time to add the bacon. Add all that. It's nice and steamy. It smells really good too. Okay, everything's done. It's ready to serve. You can keep this overnight if you want to and heat it up again later, or you can go ahead and eat it now. Get all this delicious. You get some onions in there, you get some bacon. It's really good. The cabbage is still really, it's soft, but it's still really crispy, so you still get a really good crunch. You got the bacon in there, it's a really good crunch. You got onions. It's a lot of flavor, it's really good. Again, you can get this recipe at knowthecause.com, and I hope you have a great day.
Isn't it interesting, folks, how Aspergillus, about a year ago, we had a company come in here and test our HVAC system and say it's absolutely the cleanest studio we've ever seen. occupational hazards sometimes with Aspergillus, with other molds that can even cause liver cancer. Who'd have thought? Thank you so much, Clay, for that segment on eating healthy and not having it be expensive. That's a real good segment. Thank you also, Pam. I love this book, Becoming a Wellness Champion. Once you read this, you'll know there's hope. Thank you for joining us today. God bless you.